The Arena, a multi-platform gaming news podcast, is brought to you by, well, of course, you. If you want to learn more about how you can support the show, go to patreon.com/thearena_podcast.
Hit it! That's what I'm talking about. Wait!
Okay, now, from the beginning.
Hit it, boys.
Hey everyone, welcome to The Arena, a multi-platform gaming news podcast. This is episode 57. I'm your host, Expat, along with my co-hosts, Burly of BurlyMenGaming on Twitch, and Turn-Based Carl. So Burly, how you doing, man?
Doing good.
And Carl, how you doing, man?
Good. Feel a little achy.
Why?
But that's life. I don't know. Maybe carrying a baby around too long. My back's hurting a little.
You're getting old, dude. You're getting old, man.
I feel it, man. I really do.
Yeah. But it'll get better once your baby gets older. So
Really, it's like after 30. That's when your body starts to feel like you're getting old. You start breaking down, you know.
Well, believe it. I'm past 50, and yeah, my body's like half broken down already. Anyways.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about Windows 11. So, of course, Windows 11 is out now. So, what kind of system update is that going to be for gamers? We're going to talk about that. Also, Burly's going to be talking about Twitch, because there's been a lot of news about Twitch this last week. Basically, the entirety of Twitch has reportedly been leaked. And then, of course, Yakuza, for example, Nagoshi Toshihiro and Sato Daisuke are leaving Sega. We're going to talk a little bit about that. And then, of course, the topic of the show is going to be about real-life issues and the impacts they have on gamers. And I'm going to be talking a little bit about Lost Judgment, which has a lot of real-life issues in it. So that's going to be our topic of the show. And then, of course, our new game releases for the week of October 11th through 17th. So, yeah, we got a lot of stuff on our plate tonight. So before we get into it and what we've been playing in the past week, here's a brief word about where you can find the podcast.
Before the crew discuss what they have been playing, this episode of The Arena, a multi-platform gaming news podcast, and the post-show will be going to Patreon in early access for one day after recording. So if you would like to support the show and become a patron at the entry tier 1 level at $1 per month, and get early access to every episode and post-show, as well as listen ad-free, please visit patreon.com/thearena_podcast for further details. Weekly on Sundays, the podcast will be uploaded to all free podcast services. Weekly on Wednesdays for the post-show, where you can find us on any podcast app for iOS or Android, Spotify, Amazon Music, and on Expat's YouTube channels, Expat YouTube Gaming and The Arena Citadel. Just download your favorite podcast app or open Spotify and search for The Arena, a multi-platform gaming news podcast. Subscribe, follow us, post a review, and leave us questions, comments, and feedback if you like, if that feature is available there, and spread the word about the podcast. We also have a Discord called The Arena Podcast, where you can join and chat with the Arena Podcast community, and the podcast website is at thearenapodcast.podbean.com, where you can follow us and leave questions and comments as well. Finally, you can also follow us on Twitter at The Arena, AMPGNP, as well as on Instagram at The Arena_podcast. Now, back to the show.
Okay, guys, I'm going to leave. Of course, I finished Lost Judgment, and I'm going to be talking about that during the topic of the show. So I'm going to kind of leave that out. So I want to know what you guys have been playing this past week. So, Burly, we'll start with you. What have you been playing, man?
Before we get to what I'm playing, just a little small, just doing a small little thank you to Ubisoft. They actually did because I was moderating in Peaceful Warrior stream.
Mhm.
She was streaming Far Cry 6. They gave her an over 800 person raid.
Wow.
So I'm just doing a little thank you, and they took her around for a while. So
Wow.
thank you.
Okay. 800 people.
Yeah, and just
Wow.
to raid a small streamer,
Oh, really?
like
Amazing.
out of the blue, out of all the people that would have been streaming Far Cry 6 at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just amazed, and thank you.
Cool.
Can
Yeah. Shout
I
out to Peaceful Warrior 3. Yes. She's a
Can I
really
ask,
cool person and a great streamer. So.
what does that mean when someone gets raided on a stream?
So what that means is they're taking everyone that was on their stream to another streamer. So, and if anyone goes to the Twitch Ubisoft page when they raided, they'll be hosting that channel. So you'll see Peaceful Warrior's channel.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So that's like a really good boost that you would want. Okay.
Yeah, so like
Oh,
a
yeah.
lot of people, like when they finish their stream, they go and look at people that they're following to see if they're online and actually streaming, and then they, join that person's stream. That's a raid. So at the end. So Burly, what have you been playing, man?
I've been playing Alan Wake Remastered.
Oh,
Yeah, this is my first time to be. I've been playing this game. I never played the game way back when it was like 2010 or 2011. It came out.
Mm-hmm.
Really enjoying it. It is tough. I didn't
Ah.
expect it to be tough as it is, because this is harder than Resident Evil for like item resource management.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if for any of you horror fans that you've mastered Resident Evil but you want something a little tougher, try Alan Wake.
Yeah. Yeah, using that flashlight, that's it can be tough sometimes. Yeah. Yeah.
Flashbangs are your saviors.
The flashbangs for me, yeah. So, yeah. So, what about the narrative for you? How do you like it?
I'm liking the narrative. I'm just slowly, because of how they do the narrative in there, I'm starting to figure things out. And I do like the little stuff in the background with you. If you find the radios, you turn them on, you get stuff, and then you get the TVs, and you get their version of the Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
I'm loving that.
Yeah. Carl, any questions for Burly on Alan Wake Remastered?
No. I mean, I think he summed it up well.
Okay.
Oh, are there Energizer batteries? No, I know they took that out, right?
They took that. They took all the. My moderator Wreck-It Beckett told me, he said the original game was heavily product placement with batteries, and I think, was it Coca-Cola or Pepsi? I can't remember which one. It was heavily product placement.
Yeah.
No product placements in the remaster.
It's very interesting how that kind of stuff happens, because you think that, I guess if they're getting paid, right, to put it in the game, that helps.
Yeah.
But that's a weird one, right? Like Death Stranding had the Monster Energy thing, and now I think they took that out also in the director's cut.
I see. So, Carl, what have you been playing, man?
Oh, well, I played a little bit more of Scarlet Nexus, which I'm still enjoying. And I should have played more of that, but I was bad, and I played more State of Decay 2.
State of Carl 2, right? Yeah.
I did that for a minute, and that was not, like, it was just on my mind. I'm like, this game is eating me alive. Like, because I'm trying to do I went back to my lethal campaign. There's Lethal Zone, which is the highest difficulty.
Yeah.
And it's just, you have to be so much more careful. You have to really think about what you're doing and what risks you're going to take, because you can lose people very, very easily, and that'll set you back. And it's kind of a slow crawl to try to like finish a Lethal Zone, because you have to kill so many plague hearts, and plague hearts are much more dangerous in this version because the zombies that they summon, and they don't usually, when you destroy a plague heart, it destroys all of the plague zombies around it, which it gives you some relief, because it's like shrieking out and basically summoning hordes on you.
Yeah.
So in the lethal zone, they that's one of the things they changed, and that doesn't happen. So you still got to get yourself out of there, and not always too hard, but there's like, I don't know, like maybe 20 some odd play cards in a lethal zone, which is just going to take a lot of time and effort. But we'll see if I get to it.
Cool. Anything else? Just State of Decay 2?
Well, I said Scarlet Nexus.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep. Those two.
Okay.
Should have put more time in. Should have played that Strangers of Paradise Final Fantasy Origins demo.
No.
Oh yeah, I did. Yeah, it's a good demo. I did play that as well. I forgot.
Did you like the gameplay? At least I know, like the story seems kind of terrible and campy, but
the story is going to be a schlocky mess. But like gameplay, like I really loved with the first demo. This took me a while to get used to. Is as you're getting different weapons, they're tied to classes, and you can switch weapons pretty on the fly. So I would go up as like a warrior, be the warrior start class with like a sword, and then switch to my one like rod weapon, be a white mage, so I could heal myself and buff myself.
Okay.
Okay.
Did you guys play any of Tales of Arise? Because that came out also.
I've played a little bit, but
But
it's been like a week or two since the last, like 2 to 3 weeks. When the game came out, I played it, and then other games came out that I've been streaming, so I haven't gone back to it.
Right. Okay, well, let's go ahead and jump into the weekly news beat. So, Burly, you told me that, because of your job, you're going to have to, get into Windows 11 and start working with it later on down the road. But I just want to ask you guys, are you thinking about upgrading to Windows 11 anytime soon? Some of the people that I work with, some of the teachers out here in Japan are saying they're going to wait probably at least 3 months or more before they upgrade. So what are your guys' feelings on Windows 11?
Well, I can speak from the future. I am on Windows 11 right now.
Oh, okay. So, thanks for telling us, Carl. Yeah, I knew you were waiting to tell us. Yeah,
yeah, it's not that different. I'll tell you that right now.
Really,
it's a pretty easy install. I mean, once you start using the stuff you normally use, you're not going to think much about it. But of course, your start menu and your all your Windows stuff looks a little different. Your file explorer, your notification center looks different. But and I think it all looks better. It all flows very nicely. Mm-hmm. There's a nice smoothness to when you open up the notification bar, it pops out from the right in a nice smooth motion, which didn't really do before. It was the start menu. I know some people had some issues with. I mean, I guess it's not that customizable, but you know what? I pretty much never use the start menu in Windows 10. And I never pin stuff to it and all that. So it doesn't really make much of a difference there.
Okay.
As far as gaming stuff goes, I know that was part of the topic here we're going to talk about.
Right.
Like that stuff is integrated. It's like the Xbox app is, I think, by default already supposed to be on there. But if you're in your settings, there is a dedicated gaming setting now.
Okay.
And there's the options are, your Xbox game bar. There isn't too much there. Your captures. So there's a lot of options for capturing and game mode, which I think is just like an optimization thing. So it is there. The integration of gaming into Windows 11 will be an important issue as it goes on.
Yeah, well, Microsoft was saying that it'll include auto HDR and direct storage functionality, so also including direct storage. So direct storage, of course, lets games quickly load assets to the graphics card without putting strain on the CPU. So I mean, I don't know, Burly, what do you think for Xbox gamers in particular? Do you think this is something they should jump into right away, or do you still think people should wait?
I would recommend waiting. Like for me, I use a PC for multiple different things. I use it for work because I work in the tech industry, and I also use it as a streamer. I am not upgrading right away because there are certain things as a tech where they've said, well, depending on processors and stuff like that you have, you may not be available to get certain security updates. And that's a little bit of a red flag for me. Like I have to, for work, I've got to slowly make sure, like for different customers' software, Windows 11 will work with it, with different versions and all that. Not to mention, there's just like, then I got to figure out like what their computers are running, if any of them can just do like the free upgrade, or are they going to get screwed by security updates? So it's a whole little thing. I'm probably won't go to Windows 11 for at least a year.
Okay.
But Microsoft isn't going to just can, for those that are worried, Microsoft will not can Windows 10 support for a long time. They've said they're going to be killing Windows 7. They're still pushing updates. They're still doing things to Windows 7 because a lot of industries are still running on Windows 7 and you can't easily just cut that support.
Yeah. So me personally, I mean, I of course, I love all you PC gamers out there, but I'm not much of a PC gamer. So I wouldn't be playing games on a PC or, using Windows 11 functionality to play games. I'm a console gamer, so I'm going to be using my Xbox, to play, games, that are on Xbox. However, the thing that made me think about waiting to upgrade, like you were talking about, Burly, is because I'm also a streamer. Once in a while I stream stuff, and I worry about the driver issues. Like with your microphone, with other devices that might not be compatible with Windows 11 yet. So if I were to upgrade, it might mess with everything. So I'm just a little worried about those things. But I mean, when it comes to gaming in particular, I'm more of a console gamer, so this isn't going to affect me in any way, I think. But yeah. Okay. So
I'm looking at the store, the new store.
Yeah.
And
the Windows 11 store, right? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. There's apps and then gaming and the movies and TV. In the gaming tab, I'm looking at the new and notable PC games, and it has games that are in Game Pass, and there's even a little like Game Pass icon there, like a thing, like a little green label, so it lets you know that these games are part of Game Pass, which is, I think, interesting because all of that is something that they probably really want. Oh, like there's Avengers, Game Pass.
Yeah.
They like, I think PC people have been slow to adopt Game Pass. Yeah. And it's definitely a good purchase for them, right? It's just that Steam functionality has been better, and that's really, I think, what this integration is about. It is getting it to the point where playing a game through the Windows Store or the Xbox app is no different than playing it through Steam.
Yeah,
and they might achieve that. I just think that like if you're at launch and you want to play, you're a heavy PC gamer, you might not want to jump right in immediately. I did see somewhere some people complaining about performance issues with some games through if you're using Windows 11 already. But, I don't game on it, so like I'm not going to know. Yeah, I may boot up something here and there, but I'm not necessarily going to notice.
Right. Okay, so next up, Burly, you're going to take this one, man, because Twitch is. Twitch has been in a bad spot this past week. The entirety of Twitch was leaked, source codes, user payouts, all of that fun stuff. All the gamers out there are really, really worried about this stuff, having to, have their stream keys changed, of course, change their passwords and everything. Of course, I changed my passwords. I have 2-factor authentication as well. So Yeah, go ahead and take it away, man. Let's talk about what's been going on with Twitch, and this affects many, many gamers out there, especially you and I that do use Twitch. So go ahead, man. Take it away. What's been going on?
Oh, Twitch. Oh, Twitch. Oh, Twitch. So, for those that don't know, Twitch hasn't officially announced this. Twitch is probably with their legal department figuring things out right now, what they can say or not say so they don't get sued. But Twitch has had a leak of I don't think that it's been confirmed everyone's payout history and everyone's password, but a lot. Yeah. About 128 gigs worth of stuff. Torrent was released.
Yep.
And this included passwords, stream keys we found out later. So we don't know if it's internally Twitch staff that have leaked this or what has happened. We're still trying to learn that. Twitch came out like a day or two after it got announced and said to people, we've reset stream keys. Yeah. So you have to go relink them. I urge everyone that has a Twitch account, go change your password, turn on two-factor. Even if you're not a streamer, because a lot of people will tie their credit cards to, if they're gifting, subbing to streamers or donating bits or whatever, your credit card information is on your account. And I hope you want to protect that.
Yeah.
I hope, but people are people. That's all I'll say there. But change your passwords, and for streamers, change your passwords, your two-factor authentication. But you need to remember all the stuff you link into your account. So just changing your password, if you think that is just going to do it, sadly mistaken. Like, I sat and wrote mine out because I have a bunch of tools like Streamloots and all this other stuff that I had to relink into my Twitch account and all that. And that took me like a good half hour.
Yeah. But luckily for those of us out there that use Streamlabs and Streamlabs OBS, they came out and said that even though the stream keys have been reset, you do not have to do anything within Streamlabs or Streamlabs OBS to change a stream key. So all of that's taken care of for you. But,
if you're a Labs user, which I am, and I highly recommend, if you've got the PC and the rig for Labs, use Labs. Labs uses a lot more compared to OBS or Stream Elements, but Labs has saved my ass a few times, so I will stick with Labs. And the nice thing with Labs is once you sign in, you need Twitch login, and it'll re-pull all your settings. So
And from this leak, apparently most of the biggest streamers out there, the amounts of payouts that they've been getting, I think since, 2019, the reports from 2019 and onward came out. Yeah, like some of the top streamers like XQC and, like Tim the Tap Man and stuff, they're... the amounts of payouts that they've been getting have been coming out. But it's like, it was interesting in the report. It's like to have a medium income household amount from a streamer's payout on Twitch, you have to be in the top 0.15% of streamers to be able to be getting that type of payout, and there were a lot of people on social media all making a stink about their payouts and everything. And it's like, who gives a crap, how much money they make, worry about yourselves. Yeah. But my question is, Burly, how much is this going to affect Twitch? Do you think you're going to see a lot of streamers now, a lot of game streamers jump over to YouTube, or are they going to still be loyal to Twitch? What do you think?
There will be some hopping, but not as much you think, because the problem is you can say, for some people that do this for a living, and this is how they pay their bills, because I know some people with COVID, because they couldn't get work, this is how they're getting money to support themselves. You can't just easily say, I'm going to switch to YouTube. Everyone's going to go with you. Yeah. That's a pipe dream. Maybe if you're Tim the Tap Man and stuff like that, You're these bigger streamers that have a huge following. You'll get a good percent that'll come with you, and you can live comfortably. Mm-hmm. But for most like streamers of my size or bigger, it's not.
Yeah,
I wouldn't jump platforms. But Twitch does need to do, as a streamer, Twitch needs to make this right. Twitch needs to. I'm eagerly waiting Twitch's statement, and Twitch needs to contact us streamers and say, hey, this is what's happened. Like, they didn't even send out an email to reset your stream keys. Yeah. I got it in my channel dashboard.
Yeah.
In the browser.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
That is not okay. Because I know some people that don't go in their dashboard much.
Right.
And it's like, you need to send us an email saying you've reset the stream keys. Send us that.
Yeah. Yeah, there's got to be a lot more transparency for sure. So, Carl, you've been pretty quiet in this one, but I want to ask you what you think of all this from a non-streamer's perspective. I mean, what do you think of this story?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's more the security issue for anyone. Like, I have an account. Yeah, I mean, I guess I don't have any credit card information on there, but. Yeah. Passwords. Yeah. Like, that stuff's annoying. As far as the money these people make, I mean, it is interesting to see how much money some of the highest people make, but that is such a tiny percentage of the people on Twitch.
Yeah.
It is wild. And I was looking for the bottom of the list, which I didn't see. Most people are posting the top.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
What, like, this was only, what was it, like, that people were posting, like, maybe the top 10,000 or something streamers, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it was around like that.
And those people at the bottom were making what do you guys know offhand?
You had some that were making, like, a couple grand a month. You had, because it was a whole variety. You had some that were making, like, $7,000, I think I saw. And then you had some that are making, your 10, 20 grand a month. And then they showed like the ones that are making 100,000. I only saw a couple screenshots, and then I saw people just targeting. They're like the bigger streamers saying they make money. How dare they?
Yeah. I mean, and it's like anything.
Go ahead, Carl. Go ahead.
It's like anything where the people at the top are make the most. It's how it always is. There's so many people, like actors, right? I mean, the biggest actors, Scarlett Johansson got like, who knows how many million, $60 million maybe for one movie, possibly. And some other actor who may be just as good, who's just trying to get up there, is making like peanuts, compared to her. So like, that's just how it is.
Yeah. So, but I think a lot of people were surprised at this. Pretty shocked, and it'll be interesting to see what Twitch does now. Like Burly was saying, there's got to be a lot more transparency, and there will be some people that are probably going to consider leaving. But I don't know. I think in a few months this is going to be like, pretty much forgotten. Especially to all the streamers out there. We shall see, but unless there's another like hack next week or next month or something like that. But I don't know if that's. I doubt if that's going to happen. But let's hope not. At least, so
hopefully my We Do leaks have not gone out.
Yeah. Okay. So let's move on from Twitch and hacks to Yakuza. Because the Yakuza's creator confirms he's leaving Sega, and the former series producer joins him. So Nagoshi Toshihiro and Sato Daisuke are leaving the studio. They helped establish 10 years ago. This is from Kotaku and Luke Plunkett. So having first been rumored back in August, it's now been confirmed. Yakuza series creator Nagoshi Toshihiro is leaving both Sega and his own Ryuga Gotoku studio. Also joining him out the door is longtime series director and producer Sato Daisuke. The pair both posted messages on the studio's official site announcing their departures. So honestly, yeah, they're just going to be replaced by those that have been working within the series and have been, for example, doing a lot of the visual background stuff and the production support groups. They're going to be taken over. I don't think this is going to be too big of an issue moving forward, because a lot of these people that are going to be taking their places have a lot of experience within Sega and within Ryuga Gotoku. And of course, in this story, when they were giving their basically their farewells and their departure notices, it was, of course, announced that Yakuza 8, whatever it's going to be called, is going to be coming out. But everybody knew that a new Yakuza game was going to be coming down the pipeline. But yeah, it was basically confirmed as they were talking about, those, that are going to be taking over will be, taking the reins of and moving forward with Yakuza 8. So, yeah, what do you guys think of all this? I don't think it's going to be too much. Yeah, of course, Nagoshi Toshihiro, being the series creator, he's been there forever. Yeah, it's a big loss, but, he's been teaching all of his subordinates there, and I think they're going to, do well moving forward. So what do you guys think? Carl, what do you think of this one?
Yeah, there'll be an impact of some sort, but that doesn't necessarily mean bad, because you got some fresh people running it now.
Yeah,
they already took the franchise in a fresh direction with the last game,
right?
So I don't think it'll be a bad thing at all. I think it's strange where they're going. Right? Didn't they go to? Is it NetEase? Is that the one?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Which is like a what do you call it? The Chinese owned company, right? Isn't that a Tencent owned company? I believe. I'm not sure.
I think so.
If I'm getting that right. That's I don't know. I'd want to choose to work with one of those companies, but I'm sure they're being paid handsomely.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I'm very happy to see what Yakuza 8 looks like, because now that it's a turn-based RPG franchise, I love the last one. Yeah. I'm all in on it. This is the thing, is like, now that I've played that game and I loved it, and again, I'm going to mention Game Pass here. Like, that's where I played it. Right? I didn't buy it at launch. I waited. Mm-hmm. If it launches and not on Game Pass, like, I'm going to want to buy it day one.
Yeah. Cool. Burly, what do you think of all this?
I know Johnny's is very, very happy. No, as Carl stated, this could be good. It's not necessarily bad. I'm interested to see what'll happen. See, I haven't played 7. I've played only a little bit of 0. I'm hoping to play Judgment during my little Christmas holiday. Yeah. So I'm interested to see with what the series, but it's another thing it's showing. Sega can never seem to keep people that are good. This is what scares me, because every time they start getting good people they've had there for a while, they either just leave or Sega gets rid of them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, for 9 years is a long time to be with any studio, I think. So, I think Sega losing him, I mean, that's one thing, but I mean, he was there for a long time. So, I mean, who knows? And then, of course, as Carl was talking about with the new situation, he's probably been paid a boatload of money to go on.
Oh, yeah.
So, but I'll tell you this much: Carl's not going to like Judgment. because it's not turn based. It's based on the fighting systems based on the the Yakuza series, before 7. So
yeah,
that's not turn based, and I won't have to play it.
What is have you played enough of the older Yakuza games to describe the difference in the fighting systems, like the gameplay of Judgment? Is there a significant difference, or is it kind of just basically the same thing? It's
basically the same thing, but I mean, I would have to go back and check, Carl, because it's been a long time since I played the older games. So, but I would imagine that they're pretty much based on the same fighting system, so same styles. But I mean, Judgment has, like your crane style, your tiger style, your snake style of fighting, kung fu style, but which might be a little bit different in some of the older Yakuza games. But I don't know. I'm not sure. I can't really answer that for you. Sorry, right now. But
yeah, it's a weird, like, it's not like it's bad in any way. It's just very like beat 'em up type of game.
Yeah.
And I think that's how I describe Avengers.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what that's a thing that I don't know, that didn't really work for that franchise very well. And so I mean, I guess it works better in a game like Yakuza because it is more has those RPG elements, right? There's all these quests to do and these things to level up, different stats and skills, and all of your styles and things, like all these stuff that I love in Yakuza, like a Dragon, is in the previous game. It's just the way you interact with it physically in fighting is completely different.
Yeah, like in Judgment, you have, like I was saying, like the snake style has all these different techniques, and part of your upgrades, with the XP numbers that you get, you can upgrade those styles. So yeah, I mean,
but that's what 6 was like. I started playing Yakuza 6 a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And that was like I don't know if that would started in 6, but I know when I tried Kiwami, it was a little different in how you leveled up.
Yeah. So anyway, we wish them the best. But yeah, I think the Yakuza series is just fine. And the voice actor for Ichiban Kasuga, he was mentioning in an article recently that he's going to be doing that character's voice for the next 10 years. So,
oh God.
I guess they have, I guess he's going to be like Kiryu. It's like, there's going to be like 6 or 7 games with him in it. So, he's the new main character for the long term for now, I guess. So,
see, okay. I think he's a great character. I really liked him a lot.
Yeah.
And I speak about his English voice actor because that's how I played it. And he was great. I loved him. So I'm happy. He did a great job. I'm happy he'll have a job for a long time. But I just annoyed that they want to do, and hopefully maybe they don't. Maybe he's just in these games, but he's not, like, for him to star in however many games, right? 4 or 5 games.
Yeah.
Like, it's just enough. Like, because how much, like this, how far can this person's story go? Like, how much crazy crap
can
they
go on
do
forever? It could go on forever. Yeah. I mean, he started in Yakuza 7. He starts out as some low-time Yakuza, right? So, I mean, he could rise up, because I don't want to spoil anything, but you learn some things about what happens in Yakuza 7 after the fact of Yakuza 7, like after the story of Yakuza 7. You don't hear about a lot of the characters, but you hear about some of the things that have happened. So they could take that story in Yakuza 8, Yakuza 9, and then just build upon that, forever.
I'm really,
basically.
really interested to see where it goes, because I'm assuming it felt like a really huge change to the franchise, what happens in the end of Yakuza 7.
Mm-hmm.
Even without playing the other ones, like I can just tell, like, because it's a significant upheaval to the Yakuza as a whole.
Yeah. Yep.
But yeah, I mean, it becomes like a soap opera, like a never-ending story with a certain character, and it's like that's not really a good thing.
Yeah, but that's unfortunately, well, that's the way things are out here in Japan. So,
Yeah.
so yeah,
like God
it's
of
like
War.
a never-ending soap opera for families and stuff. So.
Think about God of War. Like at a certain point, Kratos isn't gonna be like the main guy, right?
Yeah,
They're gonna have to move past him at some point. Maybe
Yeah,
sooner than we think, right?
Yeah, you never know, man. Never know. Yeah.
I was actually in the camp of for the most recent game when they hadn't announced it yet.
Mhm.
I was like, yeah, just you can change. You don't have to do Kratos anymore. You can do someone else. Like I'd have been fine with it.
Yeah.
Now what they did was fantastic, and it was Kratos' best story they've done.
Yeah.
But that's not to say that like I was tired of him at that point, and I would have been okay with someone else.
Yeah. Well, I was just with Kratos, I was just really surprised how they changed him. I mean, physically and all. I mean, this is this old, still really strong, but just this. Yeah, he looked like a grandpa in a sense, compared to the older games and all. So, yeah,
Wielding an axe and not two blades.
Exactly. Yeah. So. Okay, guys. So let's move on here. So at the beginning of the episode, I was talking about I wanted to wait to talk about the game I've been playing because this is part of the topic of the show. So this game has a lot of real life issues, and of course, I'm referring to Lost Judgment. It's my game of the year so far, and one of the reasons, I guess, for me, it strikes pretty close to home here in a sense because I, like most of you listeners know, I've lived out here in Japan for a long time now. My family is Japanese. I work here in Japan, and the life issues that really hit close to home come out in this game. For example, the real life issues pertaining to bullying in schools, pertaining to different classes of society and how they interact with each other. For example, revenge in this game, justice that's not served, which is not only in Japan, but also in other countries around the world where this is a real life issue and people have to deal with it in their everyday lives. And but this game focuses a lot on bullying and suicide. And I want to read one of the quotes from one of the characters of the game because it really stands out to me. And this was one of the main villain characters who he feels he's doing what's right, and he felt like he got lost judgment, and the system just doesn't work. So let me read this to you. He says, quote, "I'm facing the reality of bullying head on. The rest of the world is content to turn a blind eye to the problem. Our whole society, they make a show of it when a kid commits suicide, but nothing changes about the reasons why. And every time, some bully with tears in his eyes always has the exact same line. Quote, I had no idea they would ever kill themselves, end quote. They had no idea how their cruelty affects the person on the receiving end. You know why? Because they've never suffered. They don't know what it means to feel unsafe. I take care of that. I show them how much they've taken their safety for granted. Their actions need to have consequences, even if they don't realize until it's too late." So, yeah, and then one other character, he says in the game, "My son died and justice was blind to his pain." So, I mean, these real life issues come close to home to a lot of people out there. And a lot of these people might play video games as well. That's one of the great things about this game is you get to see what's really going on in society. And, I really feel like people should play more of these types of games And Burly and I, we were talking about this during our extra taping. I was really mentioning to him that this game really needs to be considered, not from a visual standpoint. I don't think it's the best game visually, but I think narrative-wise, this game really stands out, and it should be considered for Game of the Year. And Burly was telling me, and in a way I agree with him, that this game will probably not be considered at all for Game of the Year because of the real life issues that are in this game. And there's probably a lot of people out there that want to sweep it under the rug and not play it because of the real life issues involved in it. And I just, I think that's sad, because I think a lot of people playing these types of games and really seeing what's going on out there in the world, whether it be in Japan or in the United States or in Canada or wherever you live, maybe people will think about changing the world in a certain way. So that's where I want to ask you guys about games that have an impact on gamers, especially with real life issues. I mean, what are some games that you have played in your time as gamers that have had real life issues in them and had an impact on you? Like, man, I think this is something that, our society and people should really be focusing on more. Carl, I'll start with you, man. What games have you played that have had an impact on you and had some maybe some serious real life issues involved in them?
Yeah, that's a tough one. It's hard to think back on that. I don't know that there are a lot of games that really touch upon like as real as what you're talking about as far, Lost Judgment. I think there are similarities to real life issues. I guess recently I can think of like Psychonauts 2 deals with a lot of loss and, self-discovery, introspection. There's even thought about some talk about like, groups of people who've lost touch for whatever reason. A lot of people have had falling outs with people in their life, and all that kind of stuff is touched upon in that game. But it's not a realistic game, so it won't. Yeah, it might not have the impact you're feeling or thinking.
Yeah,
it might. For some people, it definitely has. As I know, a lot of people have talked about that game in that regard.
Yeah.
As far as like what you're saying, the real life issues, sort of holding back this game from being getting accolades, I don't think that's really the case. I think that type of stuff actually elevates a story in most cases. I mean, The Last of Us isn't a real world setting, but it deals with, again, like depression and loss.
Yeah, and
those type of things are really good for storytelling. You want that, and this isn't. I think the difference with this game, as far as why it won't get nominated, is because I just don't think enough people are going to play it, and it's just review wise, you got to remember that nominations are coming from the organizations who review things, and if they're not putting it that high, they're not going to nominate it. They're just not going to think of it in that nomination process. So
you think also it could be because of the regional situation of being out in Japan?
Well, I don't think that. I think that stuff, you can play it in English, right? I mean, and that translates. I think even in every country, I imagine, has bullying issues in school. America, it's a big problem as well. Yeah. It's not, so that would hit home for a lot of people here as in the same way. Maybe, and again, I think the overall story, I didn't play it, right? But I think you're talking about some really good elements to it. But from what I've seen review wise, I know some people are saying the overall story narrative wasn't excellent.
Yes. Yeah. And that's why I would give it Game of the Year for that. I mean, I was saying people were saying it wasn't, not was. I would disagree with them. I thought I don't. Yeah.
You played it, right? So I don't know, but I know some people were. I saw that as a criticism of the game. Like I was saying, there are elements that are probably really good. What you're talking about sounds very deep and very thoughtful. But
yeah, well, I mean, also because it, like I said at the beginning of this, that it hits close to home for me because I live out here, and I've been around students that have experienced these things, and I am a teacher, and this game focuses on teachers and a high school. Of course, the story goes way beyond that as well, but I mean, it focuses on, the catalyst of what happens in this investigation, in this story, is about the school system and bullying, and it centers on teachers. I mean, the main villain in the game, he was a teacher.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, and that is obviously very personal to you, and it resonates with you in a very specific way that a lot of people probably wouldn't. Not that like I said, the issues are things that a lot of people can relate to, but I don't think that everyone's going to look at that story in the same way and say like that was a story that I think was one of the greatest stories of the year in games. But who knows? Maybe it does get at least a nod for like best story. That some places do that as a separate category.
Yeah. Burly, what are your thoughts on this, man?
Yeah, like Carl said himself, like I haven't played a lot of games that I could easily think of the top of my head for like stories that really impact, like deal with like real world issues that you can easily relate.
Yeah.
So like because trust me, I tried thinking and looking up games, and it's like not so easy. But like when you had told me all this, like some of this stuff is in this game for the story, like I re-looked at reviews, and most reviews I see don't even mention that. They're like, yeah, the story's kind of weak. The story's not the strongest part. So this game I don't think is going to do well at the Game Awards. I'd like to be proven wrong. Don't get me wrong, but I just think it won't. And I agree with what Carl, since you are a teacher, it hits more and resonates more with you. Yeah. Because you see it more than I do, but I do know bullying as a person that was bullied as a kid for many years, that would resonate to me.
Yeah. And like I said, I mean, there's a lot of real life issues in this game, not only just bullying, but I think what the title of this game is Lost Judgment. A former teacher, taking, things into his own hands, but also a father and an ex-police officer who believes that the justice system just doesn't work. And it just turns a blind eye. That's one of the powerful issues in this game as well, that I think a lot of reviewers are overlooking. In America and other countries, there's a lot of people that feel that way. That the legal system just doesn't work, or it just turns a blind eye to them, depending on who they are.
Yeah, those things happen a lot in different ways.
Yeah.
I just think that in video games, right, a lot of people are looking for escapism.
I was gonna, that's
this isn't that, right?
Yeah. I'm of the mind that escapism is great, it's fine, but complete escapism is not fine and not great. I mean, I think there should be an even mixture of it. I mean, if you're going to play games, you should try to play some games that have some real life issues and have some serious tones to them, and as opposed to just like escapism and not really thinking of what's going on in reality. So.
Yeah, and this is why I like Psychonauts 2 so much, and I think it should be Game of the Year, at least win some awards for something, story, character, because it does touch upon real life things that people deal with, right?
Yeah,
but
it's a good
does
balance,
it in
good mixture.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly,
Yeah.
in like a fantastical way,
Yeah.
with a definitely escapist type of story.
Yeah. But I have to say this before we conclude here. I do highly recommend, maybe you're into the Yakuza series, maybe you're not. I mean, this is an excellent game. I still think it's game of the year when it comes to narrative. There's so many issues that hit close to home for me, but I think, a lot of people would enjoy it, for the combat system, as we were talking about with the Yakuza games before, but, and the characters are amazing as well. So, I mean, Yagami, he's an amazing character. Kaito, his, brute force and his one-liners and things like that in the game are just really funny. And, I mean, just, it's I think an upgrade from the first game. I mean, on all points.
Just to point out, review wise, going back to OpenCritic, it has an 84 average, which is very high. The highest average on here is 89. So it's not far off from that. And the critics recommend score is at a 91%, which again, if anybody doesn't know what that means that incorporates any reviews that don't use a traditional number scale of any sort, or so that letter grades or buy it or rent it type scale incorporates those into a sort of like Rotten Tomatoes type of score. Like, did they view it overall positive?
Right.
And that's 91%, that's a great number. If that number is higher, that means I always like that. Just like to see that when I look at the reviews here.
Yeah. So, like I said, I mean, and I'm just reiterating this, but I'm a little biased towards this game. I mean, obviously, because it hits close to home, and I mean, it's based in Japan. It's based on Japanese culture and society, but I mean, this is something that's, like Carl was saying. I mean, bullying is an issue that affects students in all countries and people of all ages. So I mean, I highly recommend it, and especially those of you that are into like the legal profession. Oh man, this is an amazing game. I mean, whether you're into defense law or prosecution, or just love games that have investigative elements to it, it's really an amazing game. So highly recommend it. So just games with real life issues and them make them a part of some of the games that you play. So that's my take. So okay, let's move on. Let's talk about the new game releases for this coming week, for October 11th through the 17th. So I'm going off of VG 24/7 because for some reason on my end out here, maybe it's a server issue or something, our releases.com that we usually go through. It's not coming up for me, but Carl and Burly have it up for them. So they can go ahead and list the games that they recommend. But of the games here, it's funny, before we started recording, Carl was teasing Burly about NHL 2022. But it's going to be on Game Pass this week, and Carl's going to talk about this a little bit more. But Back for Blood, I guess, would be my pick for the week. Burly, I'll start with you. What are you going for this coming week that's being released?
Yeah, this one was a tough pick. I'm not gonna lie. As I said before we started recording, this was hard for me to pick. I'm gonna go with Murder House. It is a game that's already been released on Steam. Mm-hmm. Coming October 14th, 2021. It's coming to Xbox One. A local news team breaks into the abandoned house to chase a salacious ghost story until a maniac chases them. VHS airs 80 slasher. And when we were I was looking this up, as well as Carl was saying about this game looks like it's a PS1 game. Very PS1 aesthetic. I cannot wait to try this out.
It is fun to see that as a classic style to go back to, as they do, the 16-bit and 8-bit era.
Yeah, it's nice. Everyone usually picks those, but to do a PlayStation style looking, that is awesome.
Carl, what's your pick for this coming week's new game releases?
Disco Elysium, the final cut, is the definitive edition of the smash hit RPG. Get even more out of this award-winning open world. You're a detective with a unique skill system at your disposal and a whole city block to carve your path across. Interrogate unforgettable characters, crack murderers, or take bribes. Become a hero or an absolute disaster of a human being. And this is releasing on Switch, Xbox One, and Series X. On the 12th, it was already on PC and PS4. Yes.
I see. Cool. Did you guys play the Crysis trilogy? Because the Crysis trilogy is being remastered. It comes out on the 15th. So
yeah.
That would, I guess, be a bonus game that I would recommend. So Crysis was a real, fun game to play. So,
yeah. I guess if the other ones is worthy of note to mention, you got Demon Slayer. That game based on the anime. That I mean, it might be good. Yeah. If you like that sort of thing, CyberConnect to making those type of games all the time. And then that Square Enix Dungeon Encounters game, which is that RPG that's like on a sort of like board game style, like grid, which they just announced recently is already coming out on 15th. So
cool.
Again, PC, PS4, Switch, missing Xbox. Must note that that's something that must be corrected. There's no reason that this game shouldn't be on there. I don't understand it.
Yeah.
It's like how much more work would you have to do to really do that? It's already on PC and PlayStation 4, which run very similarly to the Xbox.
I've noticed actually there's one game missing on here. There should be, because I know it's coming on the Thursday, October the 14th, Jackbox Volume 8.
Yeah,
and I'm looking forward to that as a streamer. Those games are just a blast. And you can really see what people really think in some dark thoughts.
Yeah. Cool. All right. So those were the new game releases. So I want to talk a little bit here about the reviews have been coming out for Far Cry 6 and for Metroid Dread. So this is the roundup of some of them. So I'm going to read some of these to you. This is from the GameSpot site. So what is it? VGC gave it a 2 out of 5. So they say, quote, if you're interested in another Far Cry game that does the Far Cry stuff, the way it's been doing it for 10 years, you'll probably have a good time. But if you already hit your limit with this kind of game, Far Cry 6 is the nay plus ultra of why open world game design is so badly in need of a revolution. So that was kind of the negative review. IGN gave it an 8 out of 10. Quote, Far Cry 6 is some of the most fun I've had with this series in nearly a decade. Its cast delivers strong performances across an enjoyable story, even if it's also a fairly predictable one that doesn't always land the bigger swings it tries to take. And despite some faltering new inventory mechanics and a handful of bizarre design choices, its creative weaponry means taking down an outpost, ransacking a convoy, or even just taking a ride with a buddy has never felt better. So that was from John Ryan over at IGN. So I don't know, guys. Burly, you were watching Peaceful Warrior play some of Far Cry 6. What did you think of it?
It looks good. But it just seems like another one. I don't want to be mean, but it seems like Far Cry 4 from what little I've played, Far Cry 5 from what I've seen. Just different
more
setting.
Far Cry, yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's just more Far Cry. But that's the thing. If you're into these games, it's another one you can play. And I know if you're into that stuff, you're going to get tons and tons of hours.
Yeah.
So.
Carl, what about you? Are you into Far Cry at all? Have you played any
No,
of them?
as I mentioned before, I only played Primal.
Oh, that's
but I
right.
really-
You mentioned that last week. Yeah.
Yeah, and I really enjoyed that. Now, see, the way I look at that game is from a person who's really never played a Far Cry game. So when you got this guy at VGC giving it a 2 out of 5, right, which is essentially a 4 out of 10, like,
Yeah.
I find this to be a very ridiculous type of score to give this game
Mhm.
because it's not a 4 out of 10, right? There's no way that game is actually like a bad game.
Yeah.
Like maybe if you're this person who's been, like he says, doing this for 10 years and it's more of the same, okay, but is it good
Yeah.
as what it is? Like, this guy isn't reviewing it from the aspect of like, does this game offer a good experience to a person who hasn't played another game, right? Like,
Right.
why is it being judged on what the previous games did? I know that maybe you can take a little bit of that into account, but that doesn't make this a bad game. You know, if someone is coming into this franchise for the first time and the first game they play is Far Cry 6, they may actually think it's like a 10 out of 10, right? I don't know, because they've never played any of these. So this whole thing is new to them.
Yeah.
So
You know, let me ask you this question.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, guys, but when it comes to reviews and like these, you know, like GameSpot and IGN, VGC or whatever, I mean, if you were in charge there, would you put somebody in charge of a review of a game like Far Cry that have played all of them, or would you want somebody reviewing the game that's never played a Far Cry game?
I think you have to balance that, right? I think if you've played all of them, you might not be the person, unless you're like a mega fan, but then again, still, you might have a bias.
Right.
So you might want someone who's familiar with the franchise in some aspects, not totally, you know, engulfed in it, so that they have some sort of baseline to understand what the franchise is about and what this game is in respect to that franchise.
Right. Right. Yeah.
I'd want both. Get them both to do a review, and you can see both what they think, and you can kind of, that way you have the best of, you've got one from one side of the spectrum and the other side.
Right. Right.
Then you can kind of see.
Yeah, unfortunately, like, that's too much to ask for these places, because the review process of a game like this, right, is tough.
Oh,
it's a long game.
Yeah.
And they have so many other games to review, so yeah, you can't really expect that sort of thing.
Oh,
yeah,
I know, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, I personally like. I know some people like to give IGN a hard time. But I think that they do an excellent job of managing those type of things, giving the reviews to the right people, right?
Yeah.
Like they hire out freelance people to do reviews for certain things if they don't have anyone that they think is the right person, like, for example, sports games and things.
Right.
You know.
Right. Yeah.
And that's the way, and that's why I think their reviews are very consistent, right? You don't see a lot of really low scores because you don't have someone who's just like, I don't care, I don't like this this franchise has just become stale garbage, right? And I'm just gonna, I want to give it a bad score because I want them to change. Like, that's not what reviews are about. It's not how it works.
Yeah.
And yeah, they have a quality control. Like, I think VGC letting that review out, like, there's no one doing quality control there. There's no one be like telling this reviewer, like, okay, I get you really don't like the fact that it's more of the same, but how you're not telling me how good it is at what it does on its own as its own separate product. Like, that's weird. Yeah. And a lot of people, some people put too much into what these reviews really mean, but it's important. And I think that's why I think it's, I know Metacritic does a sort of weighting system, right? Like, they do have at least some aspect, like, there are reviewers like that they give a little bit higher weighting in, like, the averaging, because they're like a trusted platform versus, like, you know, any Joe Blow can have a website, right, and put out a review, and if they meet the criteria to get on these aggregate sites, they can give games bad scores or great scores without really any you know, what's the word I'm looking for? Oversight, right?
Yeah. Well, speaking of another game that was reviewed, and actually, I'm gonna start playing this next week. Metroid Dread. There's a lot of reviews that have been coming out, and very positive for this game. Actually, Eurogamer described it as, quote, a stylish, visually sumptuous return for 2D Metroid. IGN gave it a 9 out of 10. So, speaking of IGN, they say, quote, even though it's the latest in a decades-old series, Dread has just enough clever innovation to balance its familiarity. Universally recognizable mix of tough puzzles, tougher boss fights, evolving exploration options, and intricate level designs that recent games like Hollow Knight and Ori get so right, has an origin point. It's Metroid. I love those games, but the Metroid team, a mix of old and new developers now, have shown that they know how to do it best. End quote. So, all through the list here, it seems like Metroid's been getting really positive reviews. So, looking forward to playing it.
Have you played it, Burly? You have it, right?
I have it. It was a stream goal. One of my sub goals for September. That did get met. I just want to finish either Alan Wake or South Park Stick of Truth, because those are the two main games I've got going on.
Mm-hmm.
Once one of them
so you haven't even like loaded it up once.
I haven't loaded it up once. Now I'm doing it fresh. I have to. My channel people paid for it.
You'd be holding. I'm sorry. I get it. Okay.
Burly's just messing with you, man. Yeah, that's
I know, but I have to.
Yeah,
because I know some of the people that sub to me for that do listen to the podcast, and you're all awesome.
yeah.
So like that fraud, he's acting like he's never played it. He's already 5 hours in.
I've already got a 75% complete save file.
Awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I expected this game to review well. These Metroids these style of Metroid games have traditionally been great. Yeah. I don't think they've made a bad one, right?
Yeah.
even Fusion, I think some people look at as one of the weaker ones.
I loved Fusion.
I thought it was great. I enjoyed that game a lot. Yeah. I guess Metroid 2 is the worst. The Game Boy one.
That's the one I've never played.
Yeah, and that's the one they did that
remake.
Yeah, and the 3DS remake that's still trapped on the 3DS, right?
Yes.
What's wrong with Nintendo? Why isn't that on the Switch?
I don't know if you know, but Nintendo is a stubborn Japanese company.
Yeah, they're the worst, really. Like they could put out a great game like Metroid Dread, right? Out of nowhere, they're like, "Yeah, look, we're making a new Metroid, just like you asked, and look at that, it's really good." But they can't do the simple
19 years in the making, man.
Yeah, and they can't do the simple thing of just porting over, which they love to do, lazy ports. You know what? Do a lazy port of the 3DS release because it doesn't need to be changed too much. They just made it, right?
Yeah.
Maybe they need to just turn up the resolution a tiny bit so it doesn't look like garbage.
Or just make that adapter that was so teased for the Wii U, but for the Switch, where you can put your 3DS cartridges in via USB. Switch dock.
Yeah.
I'm thinking that's probably it. That's probably because if you play this docked, if you played the 3DS Metroid, what is it, Return of Samus? If you play that on a 55 plus inch TV, right, with your Switch, it probably looks really, really bad.
Yeah, probably.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
They might need to do a little work, but I tell you what, that's bare minimum amount of work you need to do to put out a game that you can sell for a decent price that would push a lot of copies.
Yeah. All right. So before we conclude the episode, I want to let everyone know where you can find me on social media. My general content creator site is at expat2020.live, and my YouTube channel for gaming and podcast content, Expat YouTube Gaming, is at youtube.com/expat2020gaming. And the podcast channel for gaming, entertainment, and pop culture is at youtube.com/The Arena Citadel. My other social media links to Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, the Arena Podcast Discord server, and the podcast websites are at Linktree. That's at linktr.ee/expat 2020. So that does it for me. Burly, where can people find you on social media, man?
You can find me at Twitter at BurlyMenGaming. You can also find me as I am a Twitch streamer on twitch.tv/BurlyMenGaming. And if you want and you go on a way to interact with the stream and make me die a lot more in Alan Wake and some of the games I've got this month, you can also check my Streamloots page at streamloots.com/BurlyMenGaming.
Cool. All right, man. And Carl, where can people find you on social media?
I'm just on Twitter at Turn-Based Carl.
Turn-Based Carl, man. Yeah, sometimes Game Pass Carl, sometimes State of DeCarl. Yes, but yeah, Turn-Based Carl.
Yeah, I'm playing with it. I'm copying Jez, I guess. But,
Well, what name will be next? You'll have to watch and see.
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. And what are you going to be playing this coming week, Carl?
Man, I have to stop playing State of Decay.
Yes,
so
please.
I should get back to Scarlet Nexus. I do. What else did I want to get into?
Are you going to play Back for Blood?
Next
week? Yeah.
No.
No.
Okay. That's the Game Pass game. Yes, I think that's the one where I'm just going to completely ignore because it's a multiplayer first-person shooter. Like, I don't really. What am I gonna? Like, yeah, I played Halo, but again, that was because of my nostalgia for that franchise.
Right.
It doesn't mean much else to me, I watched the G4 TV history of Halo, and the development of that game. And man, that was a good video. I like that.
Cool.
I gotta tell you, everybody who hates crunch, man, your biggest favorite franchises are all about crunch. They only exist because of it. Sad to say, but
yeah. Well, I'm gonna be still playing more of Lost Judgment, the side quests. I'll probably be running around doing that. Of course, Metroid Dread. I'm going to start playing that. And I might play a little bit of Back for Blood. I don't know. We shall see. But there's so much other stuff on Xbox. That AI, the Insomnium files, I want to get into that. Check that one out. So, yeah, I mean, a lot of stuff coming up this week. So, yeah. So interesting stuff. Halloween coming up soon. So, getting into that time where we start playing the horror games. So we'll be talking about that a little bit more as we get closer to Halloween. So,
did you guys see any of the Guardians of the Galaxy stuff that they've been releasing for the game?
No, not yet. So.
No,
because they put out some cool video. Like there's a cutscene with Cosmo, the telepathic dog, and he's got like a bunch of little puppies for some reason. I don't know why, but it's cute and it's fun. And then they also put out a music video from the fictitious Star-Lord band that Star-Lord's character named himself after.
Okay.
And it's a legit full-length original song music video with like live action band stuff cut in with an animated like cartoon character version, like your traditional, like some of those videos would have been in that era.
Mm-hmm.
And man, it's great. I love to see them putting in a real effort into making the lore and stuff behind like what makes a game in a story like that really interesting. Whether the game's good or not, I don't know, but like I think they're doing all the right things when it comes to like that type of marketing material. They released the band list of all the artists that are in the game, all the songs. Man, it is a damn good list.
So, Burly, it sounds like this is going to be Carl's game of the year already. It's like he's already setting it up, man. Yeah.
I might not even play it, which is funny.
I was going to say, I think he just got a sponsorship deal for this game. He's going to have to create a Twitch account and everything.
Streaming, man. Maybe some 800 people like in Peaceful Warrior stream will jump in on you.
Yeah, there you go.
You get the developer to raid you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I don't, I'm waiting on reviews on this game. It's not a game that I'm definitely going to buy, but you know, if it gets 8s and 9s, hits in their average, I'll definitely want to buy it.
And that reminds me of a game I actually put in and played a little bit today before the podcast here because, I got Metroid Dread today. But I was going through some of my Switch game collections, and I hadn't played it in the longest time, so I popped it back in and played it for a while. Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3. I don't know if you guys remember that one. Yeah. So
I remember it. I never played it.
Yeah. I was in the raft section. I think it was chapter 2 or something like that. So playing a little bit of that. It was fun. So
yeah, I heard good things. I don't really play that franchise. I've never really gotten into.
Yeah. Okay. So to end the show, our indie recording artist spotlight. So this week's spotlight is on Fiona Hart. Fiona Hart is a singer-songwriter from Northern Ireland who has won the hearts of many with her poetic lyrics and ambrosial vocals. She began to develop an early interest in the stories being told behind songs on the radio, and at age of 8 started to write her own music. Inspired by folk's greatest singer-songwriters, Fiona gives her sound a modern twist. She has played several famous music venues, including Nashville's Bluebird Cafe, New York's Bitter End, and LA's Hotel Cafe. From the title song of her album called Color Me. This has been The Arena, a multi-platform gaming news podcast, episode 57. I've been your host, Expat, along with my co-hosts, Burly of BurlyMenGaming on Twitch and Turn-Based Carl. We hope to catch you in the next one. So take care, everyone. Peace out.
Make a song, make a dance, make a record, take a glance and put it on me. Put it on me. Be a test drive, be a race, be a car, and be the rhythm of my eyes. Be a late night. But it was a false sense of falling. You couldn't have given me a warning.